I've bought this HA114 in A. It's not bad at all, but it has a few things that really need sorting out with it. It's got broken spring there, a little bit cruddy underneath, and these, well, that one's original and it's okay, although I think it needs refacing. That one's been replaced. You can see it hasn't got the proper axle in, and the spring is, don't know what it is, safety pin I think. This one's been messed around with as well. So first thing I'm going to do is take this one off, sort out the spring, sort out the axle, reface it, put it all back together again. I won't be able to test it because it's not airtight at that end, and I'll probably do this spoon afterwards as well. So let's sort this out. Set of screwdrivers. Next size down, I think. Pop that in the case so I don't lose it. There we are. Well, we haven't got much of a trace of what's going on there. It's obviously sealed a little bit around there, but not the other side. Well, that's the spring, and it's not doing a lot, to be honest. Let's take this pin out, see what we can do. Right. Okay, well that's going to be a lot better if we spread that. And pinch that. So let's all I've done is spread that out a little bit, and yeah, that's got a lot less wiggle sideways now. Now, next thing is to sort out a spring. Made myself a little jig to do springs on. Drilled a hole from the back. This is, I think, a 3.1 mil nail, just happened to be whatever was lying around. Using the pillar drill, went straight down and used a 3 mil drill, so it's nice and tight in there. This one I used an 1/8 drill, which is, as you probably know, 3.2 mil, so I've got a little bit of movement. And then I cut about 1 inch off this nail because I kept sticking my hand on it. It's just a very simple jig to bend springs. I got this off eBay. There you go. Probably 12 gauge will do you from whatever source, maybe guitar strings, don't know. Anyway, this is 12 gauge. if you measure the size of the original springs, they're 0.7 of a millimetre, which translates to about 12 gauge. So on the back of here I've driven in a screw that will grab the wire as I wind it round. I did actually file it ever so slightly to give a little bit more grab, because these are quite rounded on the edge of the screw, but it wants to be close to that hole. On the other side, that was a mistake. That one I cut just with a hacksaw blade, because I wanted to cut right next to the nail. So that goes in here like that. Should have done that earlier. That goes in there like that. That is the length that I want. I just want a screwdriver. Now that anybody who knows what they're doing will tell you this is the wrong size screwdriver, but it doesn't matter. The screw doesn't actually pinch on the wire. There's a tiny bit of the wood left in between, so all I'm doing is pinching that to hold it in place. We're not trying to do anything more, we just want to make sure it doesn't escape while I turn it. And I know from a couple of marks that that little pencil line is about the right length. So next thing, just clamp it in place, make sure it doesn't move, and see how easy it is to do. Anyway, screw goes in down there, and you want one, and that's gone back to its original position. Two, that's gone back to its original position. And roughly three, 2.5, something like that. And there we have a spring. Cut that roughly to length, and that's pretty good. Right, now, see, there's the old spring. See an idea of the difference in gauge. Now here's my old spoon. Clean it up a little bit. Mostly gone, but I shall just rub that on some just so that I can put that in the right place so you can see it. There we are. That's just cleaned enough of that off to be safe. I've got some leather. This is an offcut from a friend who is an upholsterer, so we're just gonna cut that off. Not important what size anything is, just cut it. Here we go. Now some just key the surface a little bit, because sometimes these have a protective lacquer on, so just make sure that everything is nice and clean. We want some little bit of glue. That's fine, and just pop that on. Then I'll cut the circle afterwards. Now that can just sit on there, and I'll put a clamp on just to make sure that it holds it nice and flat, and it won't take long for that glue to do its stuff. Pop that back. Too much rubbish on my bench. There we are. That's right. Just put this to one side. Let's have a look at this now. We've got two holes that were just a little bit loose, so all I'm going to do is put a tiny little bit of PVA glue in. I don't think it's critical what you do, as long as you make sure that the holes are no looser than before. I think using water-based glue also helps to expand the fibres. Okay, so that's that. Now yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I should have left this out, shouldn't I? Of course I should. Let's try and sort this out now. Nearly there. Not the sharpest of blades. But it's occasionally been remarked that I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, so that probably doesn't matter. So, nearly there. Right, so that's okay. Doesn't look vastly different to the original orange paper, cardboard, whatever the hell it was that was in there originally. So let's have a look, see if we can sort this out now. Of course, the other thing that we need is a pivot. I'm going to use probably a panel pin. There we are. It's a Sherrodized pin. Now let's see, that goes in that way, so ideally we want the pin go that way, then I can fold over the end and make it look half decent, and the repair will be on the opposite side. So we got that like that, and by leaving the tails a little bit on the long side, we can position the the spring so that you can get the pivot through it. Right, that's that. Pair of pliers. Hiding somewhere, so I'll use the little ones. They're not really big enough. There we are, better pliers, much better. Now we can bend that to get it out of the way. That seems fine. Bit further, and then I'll cut it off. I'm not doing very well here. I was using a different pair earlier, and I don't know why I changed them, but never mind. See if that will do it. Yeah, that's fine. All we want to do is turn that enough so it doesn't come out again, and snip it off, and that's okay. I'm just going to make sure that that's as tight as I can be. I want this, I don't want too much wobble side to side there. Right, I think that's fine. Now we can cut the spring down a little bit. Doesn't need to be that long, and I might want to put a bit of cork on the back to take the noise out. And there we go. So now we've got a new spoon, new spring, all should be well. Push that into place. First screw. second screw. That's fine. I'll just push the pin down further, get it out of the way, and I'm just going to nip this up a tiny bit to, yeah, that takes away any side to side flop, and in a moment I will, that's got to be close to airtight, but once I've got the pallet done on the other side, I'll probably improve that a lot. So first base spoon done. If you find a better size pivot, that's even better, but that one fits. I'll have a look at the pivot for that one later. I'm going to strip it down, and I also have that one to do, which, if I've managed to get the camera work completely wrong on this, you will see it much better on that one.